Hello everybody, how are you? How are you today? Let's go to our video today. Do you suffer from a lack of confidence? You don't trust yourself to carry out and implement plans, you always have doubts about how to act and you often freeze and can't decide anything. Let's talk about security today, okay? Self-confidence is essential in anyone's life, do you know why? So that we can accomplish things. Without self-confidence, we cannot make satisfactory and positive decisions. And depending on the degree of insecurity, we often can't even decide what to do. Insecurity is an emotional state arising from a very bad feeling, which is the feeling of inferiority. If you feel that people are superior to you, you will never think you are good enough to solve your life, make your choices, refuse things, or even be loved. Let's talk a little about the characteristics of insecure people. An insecure person is extremely perfectionist, precisely because they think they are incapable or less than others. So, she is very afraid of other people's evaluation and always thinks that others do something better than her. So, she takes care of all possible details, and this leaves anyone extremely tense, without the possibility of making a mistake. Everything has to be super perfect, everything takes much longer, due to the time a person spends trying to be perfect and execute it perfectly. She is also always comparing herself to others. An insecure person is always comparing themselves to other people. Are they doing better than me? Am I doing something cool, that's cool? And in this comparison, she always looks at all the positive points of others and only looks at their negative aspects. So, it's an impossible competition to win because the insecure person always gives more credit to everything that others do and always seems to fall short. The assessment of the insecure person is very flawed. It's very unfair. She doesn't put things on the same level, she always thinks she's inferior. It is complicated. Insecurity is a very complicated thing. She never sees the positive things in her. Your thoughts and evaluations always tend to be worse about yourself, and this increasingly lowers the person's self-esteem, okay? Because if she already feels defeated right away, which she won't like, which people won't find interesting, it's clear that her self-esteem will become low. It's mathematical, 1 + 1 = 2. She is always afraid of being rejected. Every insecure person is afraid of rejection. Because she thinks she is little, she thinks she is less. She doesn't have a good idea about herself. She doesn't recognize her qualities, and if she doesn't recognize her qualities, how will she be loved and admired? So, see the importance of self-esteem. When you have a cool idea of yourself, like, wow, I'm cool at this, I do this cool, I have my charm, I have my way. If you don't have this recognition, how will you think that others do? That's the thing about self-esteem. Those who have good self-esteem, it is not clear that we are social beings, we will always care to some degree about what others think of us. But if what you think of yourself is cool, it's good, it's a fair concept of your qualities, compatible with who you are, then what others will say is no longer so important. It doesn't have that much weight. Many insecure people have that need to demonstrate superiority, to show off their achievements. People who do this actually demonstrate their own insecurity because there is no need to support anything, that is, what you have achieved, what you have done, or the way you deal with people. Do you see that? Now, if you need to constantly demonstrate a certain superiority, it is the biggest flag that you are feeling inferior. Be careful. If the person doing this thinks they are disguising it, aren't they? This reading is easy. It's because a person who does everything nice and is happy, they're in a good place, they don't need to try anything, they don't need to demonstrate anything, they don't need to compete with anyone, they're in their own right, they're cool and their own. This need to inferiorize people to feel superior is a demonstration of one's own insecurity, okay? Those who are sure of their value do not need to belittle anyone to feel greater. There is no such need. They are always seeking external recognition, precisely because they do not feel capable of accomplishing anything satisfactorily. It's really bad when we wait for others to give us a grade because then, if they give us a bad grade, we won't please everyone all the time. Insecure people have a lot of difficulty receiving criticism and touching, okay? because she has a very weak self-image. Everything makes the insecure person collapse and feel worse. Where does insecurity come from? Look, there could be many causes. It is one that reinforces the other. It may have been because I had very insecure parents who ended up passing this on to their children, parents who were afraid of everything. You know those parents who are terrified that the child will do anything and are there surrounding their child? A teenager goes out, his mother and father are desperate, they wait for him to arrive, then all the time, my hero, be careful, this could happen, that could happen. This is the son, with so many fears that are actually their fears. This ends up passing on to the person. The teenager becomes insecure, he becomes an adult afraid to take any step, because many bad things can happen. Overly critical and perfectionist parents do not allow their children to do anything alone, they criticize everything, they prohibit a lot of things, they prohibit initiatives, nor courage, nor their children's attempts to gain independence, autonomy, to make their own choices. We have experience as adults, as parents, but there's no point in giving it all away, because experiences have to be lived, yes, and we went through that, we tried, we made mistakes, so you have to allow your children to gain this autonomy, sometimes even breaking their heads, doing something that didn't work, which the teenager will know, seeing ways to resolve it, making other attempts. There's no point in us just going through this, it won't do, it will only go wrong, don't try what I've already done. So he doesn't actually live. Accidents and traumas can also generate a lot of fear and insecurity, so there are countless causes. What to do? Our mind is very powerful. If you keep repeating and convincing yourself all the time that you're not capable, that you're not interesting, that you're not going to please people, that's exactly how you're going to feel. Guys, think a little about how negative this is. Just talking about it makes us feel bad. Wow, I can't do anything, I'm uninteresting, nobody likes me, I'm going to do it wrong, people do everything right, why can't I do it? These are detonating thoughts. And you automatically feel less. Our minds have a lot of power, we have to be very careful about what we convince ourselves of, what we say to ourselves. This leaves us very low. Everything happens first in our minds, everything we are going to do we think about first. If you believe that you are not enough, this will become true because you begin to act out with a series of self-boycotts. That's how it works. If you already limit yourself and tell yourself that you are not capable of doing that, automatically, if you don't do it, it didn't even exist. We create a mental barrier and it becomes truth, the truth that you will live with. It's your diet and you have to understand, it's not others who go, so we limit ourselves due to a lack of self-confidence. This is internal. The only way to fight this is to change your thinking pattern. Write down all the sentences, everything that creates insecurity in you, your thoughts, the negative beliefs you have about yourself. So, I can't do anything, I'm good for nothing, nobody likes me. Make a list of these things, and deconstruct them sentence by sentence, because if you analyze, review, this is not true. Of course, people like you, there are those who don't like you too, that's for anyone, but there are a lot of people who like you, I'm sure. There are many things that you know how to do well, you may not do it out of fear, out of cowardice, out of fear of external evaluation, but you know that you know how to do it, that you can do it. So, keep deconstructing and rebuilding. No, yes I can, because I can't, okay? What you can't do is stop trying to do things, you have to analyze what works and what doesn't, did you say that? In the defeatist sentences you write, you see that there is something that really doesn't work, you can't achieve it, so you invest in it. You will improve in some things, we don't know how to do everything perfectly. So, also make a list of your qualities, the things you do well, measure the achievements you have, you know? It doesn't have to be anything huge, it's little things that make up our daily lives. So, by making these lists, you organize your thoughts and see what you can improve. Don't be afraid to do things, take risks. Nobody cares if he's going. Give yourself a challenge, keep challenging yourself. Get organized, set aside time to carry out certain tasks, small things at first, you will become stronger just with your self-confidence. This comes from what you are capable of course. For you to have self-confidence, you need to have self-knowledge. You have to know yourself, know your weaknesses and strengths, your potential. The more you know yourself, the more you will trust in yourself, you will be able to take better care of what scares you. And that insecurity is one of the expressions of fear, which is very important in life, because an absolutely fearless person, who is not afraid of anything, is at much more risk than anyone else. It was the fear of our ancestors that allowed us to be here today, because if they weren't afraid of volcanoes, storms, dinosaurs, we wouldn't be here to tell our children. So, fear, caution are very necessary in our lives. But when fear grows in a way that generates so much insecurity that it paralyzes your life, then it's time to separate and try to understand what is happening. Excessive fear doesn't allow us to fully experience life's possibilities, okay? Whether it's a new job, a trip, a relationship, it's just because you're afraid of not being good enough, of not knowing what to do. So, invest in self-knowledge, know yourself, understand and accept your limitations as well as your qualities and potential. We have both. Everyone has strengths, everyone has weaknesses, everyone has insecurities to a certain degree. We just have to be careful not to let this insecurity paralyze our lives. It all depends on what you feed the most. Whether you are going to feed more of the negative beliefs you have about yourself or admit the positive things you have and believe in your abilities. We all make mistakes, we all evaluate others and are evaluated by others. But if you keep feeding this internal executioner that is torturing you all the time, how will you stop being like that? You saw how this depends on you. It's your beliefs that have to change, and if you can't do it alone, seek therapy. I guarantee it will help you. Is it okay, guys? I hope this video was useful. I wish everyone good luck, a kiss in the heart of each one and their home. Share this video with those friends or family members who suffer from all this insecurity, and I'll wait for you in the next video, okay? Kisses, guys.